So recently there was a little bit of an interesting revelation from someone associated with the Red Bull Racing Formula One team. And believe you me when I say it was a doozy, because when I read it, I'm like, there's no way this is real. Now, we'll talk about the quotes in just a bit. Gargi has those loaded on her phone. But in essence, the long story was that Christian Horner, the team principal of Red Bull Racing since their inception, very nearly joined Ferrari. So can we go over what it was that was said? Because I believe it was Helmut Marko who said that I had to stop both him and Adrian Newey from leaving.
So, to give a little bit of context to our family members, so what happened was in 2022, apparently Christian Horner was offered the team principal role at Ferrari after Binotto had gone off, to which Helmut Marko has now exposed. Is that the right word?
I mean, yeah, sure. I don't think anyone wanted this known. So he definitely exposed this.
Yeah, so he exposed that they had to, quite literally rope in Christian Horner because he was ready to leave Red Bull.
Which is shocking.
So,
when you think about it.
When we talk about the quotes, this is what Helmut Marko said. I spent all night trying to convince Horner to stay with us. That cost us a lot of extra millions, which I have the number. The number is 12 million pounds.
That's the extension he got, like a raise? Yikes.
And Montezemelo was already cheering in the paddock and wanted to announce the deal. But during the night, we were able to change Newey's mind as well.
So in case you're wondering who Di Montezemelo is, that's Luca Di Montezemelo, who is, of course, Ferrari's president, their long-standing president. And of course, with Ferrari, you know that there's a lot of positions because it's a very corporate feel to how they work. Fiat's, chairman, Ferrari's chairman, Ferrari as in the company Ferrari, not the team Ferrari. Everyone has a say. That's probably one reason why they're so muddled. But it did seem like they had managed to get Christian Horner, and that would be massive. Just to give you an indication, team principals switching jobs, that too from like one team, a big team to another big team. Doesn't happen often.
Does not happen often, and especially when the team that is about to leave is doing so well.
Exactly, they won the last 2 championships. They won 1 constructors, and you're thinking, why would he want to go to Ferrari? But then that actually got me and Gargi talking about, like, hey, you know what? What would a team led by, and this is just pure fantasy on our part, but what would a Ferrari led by Adrian Newey and Christian Horner actually look like? And more importantly, would they get success? Now, first off, it is worth noting that Adrian Newey is someone who, in his long and illustrious F1 career, has worked with pretty much every team but Ferrari. He's worked with a lot of teams. In fact, when Ferrari were losing titles front, left and right, when McLaren were beating them in the 90s, the man who was fronting those title bids was Adrian Newey. He was the design genius making those McLarens, and then when he left, that was when McLaren's slow downfall had actually started, because he left in 2005. Thereafter, yes, McLaren had a couple of good seasons. They came close to winning the title in 2007, won it with Lewis Hamilton in 2008. But then thereafter, there was a steady decline. And of course, a lot of people attributed it to the Mercedes deal going. But Newey was a big loss. How do you know that? Because in 2009, new regulations came about. Red Bull became a force from 10 to 13. Was that a coincidence? No, it was because Newey was the man fronting that.
Absolutely. And coming back to the whole Christian Horner to Ferrari thing, I mean, when you pointed it out to me and when you showed me the article, I in my mind, I was like, this is a conspiracy theory. There's no way this is true. Because why would Helmut Marko come out and say this about his own team principal?
Exactly.
Yeah. But then Christian Horner also this year revealed what he had said to Ferrari. Apparently, there was a phone call where he denied the offer. And he said, and I quote Christian Horner, that there is too much politics below the surface at Ferrari, too many egos. If someone starts succeeding, someone else pulls him down.
Hey, that is an interesting point, because that is what, a lot of people will say this, and this has been true for Ferrari in its most recent dominant phase, which was 2000 to 2004, when you had Ross Brawn and John Todt running the team along with Michael Schumacher as their lead driver. They really needed to insulate the F1 team from the politics of Ferrari, the company, as well as Fiat. And that's always been a problem at Ferrari. In case you think this has been something new, it's not. It was basically encouraged by Enzo Ferrari. You know why? Because he felt that having people on their toes like that brought about better results. Now, it's a pretty old-fashioned school of thinking. It's like managers not telling their employees that, they're doing a good job so that the employees keep working harder. It's a bit of a vicious cycle type thing, but that has been the way at Ferrari. And even now, in fact, I would say now it's worse now that, for years Enzo hasn't been around, but the presence of that name as well as now the extra control that a company like Fiat has does make for a very political scenario.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari's work environment is not very good for, I believe that's why the kind of strategy mess ups that have been happening and the car, whatever, I think it's a lot of miscommunication and a lot of toxic environment. I don't know, but I'm just saying it could be a toxic environment for them to not work out.
Yeah.
And then after the Christian Horner to Ferrari thing was done, there were also rumors about Binotto coming to Red Bull after he had lost his job with Ferrari, to which Horner had said something like, I'm already the team principal, what is Binotto going to come and do here?
Correct, that's correct, that's a valid point, but that is the reality that there was that rumor. And see, the thing with Ferrari, what makes it so hard, and I think there's this one quote, and I'm forgetting who it was that said it. Some race driver back, I'll Google it later on, we're live right now, but the exact quote was, and it's very true even of Ferrari now, stand outside Ferrari's factory and you wonder how it is they don't win every race. Stand inside Ferrari's factory and you wonder how it is that they win any. That is the dichotomy or the paradox of a Ferrari.
Bad.
Yeah, and it stands true. By the way, this was said in the 80s or 90s. It's applicable even now, which is a real shame and a big indictment of the kind of culture. Because again, I think one of the reasons you've seen, who are the two most dominant teams in recent history when you're thinking of Formula One? Red Bull and Mercedes.
Of course.
Why were both of those teams successful? And you can chime in with your thoughts on this, but one of the things which I found with both of them was that they might have been owned by big corporations, but those big corporations generally stayed out of the way. They had the racing people there and they're like, hey, you know what guys, you do your thing. We're going to invest the money. We just want to see results. And when they trusted those guys to get them the results, when they did get the results, they're like, we'll empower them even more. That is why Red Bull's deal with Porsche didn't go through in the end, because Porsche wanted a controlling stake.
Exactly.
And Horner and Newey were like, why should we sell a controlling stake?
Exactly.
We've built this team from the ground up. We've made them the brand name they are now. So why should we sell that controlling stake? And I understand their logic. Same with Mercedes, by the way. In case you didn't know, Toto Wolff is actually a part owner of the team.
Yes.
And that is something that Mercedes parent company Daimler has done by design. Why? Because it shows that the team principal actually has a powerful motivating factor to ensure that the team succeeds, because he's a 33.3% owner.
Yes, exactly. And that's what makes Red Bull and Mercedes so successful, is that even though they're part of these big corporations and these big companies, they're a very independent part. The Formula One team is very independent off of those corporations. When you look at someone like a Horner, when you look at someone like a Toto Wolff, you can tell they're the real bosses.
Exactly.
When you look at Binotto, when you looked at Binotto, you didn't feel that. You knew he was under some pressure. You knew he was working under someone else. But with Toto and Horner, they're the bosses. They call the shots. And by the way, Toto started off investing in Mercedes way before he was the team principal, and then they had talks about it, and then he was offered the job, and of course he took it up. But look at how things are going.
The way or the difference in the functioning. In fact, with Ferrari, you're mentioning about Binotto. I feel the same about Fred Vasseur even now. I feel like he's just another employee. Does the buck really stop with him? Is he powerful? Can he make sweeping changes with Ferrari? I always get the feeling that no. With Horner, I get the feeling that because the top management is well condensed and there are clear roles. So Helmut Marko, is going to be running the driver side of things. Newey is going to be the chief aerodynamicist, ensuring that the car is best optimized. And Christian Horner trusts both of them to get everything right, them and the engineers who are working. Same with Toto. He's not a technical person, but he knows what it is to manage, how it is to delegate. And he's like, okay, I trust these guys to do their job. You guys do your job, then we'll make the best out of it.
He doesn't come from a racing background, does he?
Oh, he does actually.
Toto
In fact,
Wolff?
he does. So there's a really famous picture, you can Google this, where Toto, when he was racing, not Formula One,
but I know.
He used to race in like cars, racing cars and stuff like that. There's a picture, there's a very famous picture where he's wearing Red Bull sponsored gear. That was obviously because he's an Austrian, right?
Yeah.
Red Bull's an Austrian company. So that is one of the things. But if you're looking at these guys, you know for a fact that they trust their team to get the job done. With a Binotto or anyone really who came even before Binotto, with even now Vasseur, you get the feeling that they're just there. They are a figurehead, they're the public figure. But when things go wrong, they'll get sacked or they'll get the blame. When things go right, they aren't getting the credit.
Yeah, and it's quite telling with all the things that you mentioned about Ferrari, that they wanted the most successful team principal in the history of F1, which is Horner.
I mean,
he is. I just checked that fact today.
How is that possible?
He has most amount of everything.
No, can't be.
Yeah, drivers championships. He has
6
constructors.
He can't be the most successful. No, he's won
Yes.
four drivers and constructors was 10 to 13 with Vettel. Now he's won 2
I
drivers.
read a lot more than that.
No, if we're talking about purely titles, no. He was the team principal from Red Bull's inception, started in 2005.
Yeah.
The first title which Red Bull won was in 2010. 10, 11,
Okay,
12, 13.
one of the most.
The second most. Actually, the most successful is Toto.
Oh, right.
7 World Drivers' Championships, 8 Constructors' Championships on the trot. But Christian Horner is the next best, and you're not going to be able to poach a Toto because, again, will he sell his 33% stake? No, he's not going to do that. He's wedded to that company at this point. But with Horner, you know that he's still technically an employee even if he's at the top level, which is why they went for him. But again, would he have the tools? And that's where I have my doubts. Would he have the same tools at Ferrari that he's been given at Red Bull? I doubt. I don't see it happening. Maybe, and again, I know that this is a talk which people will have that, Ferrari have been at its most successful when they've had strong personalities as team principals. And Christian Horner, love him, hate him, have an opinion on him, whatever. He's a strong personality.
Absolutely.
I think him and...
He knows how to do his job and he does it well.
Him and Newey would actually have done a good job trying to maybe mitigate some of the politics, but it's just a culture in that company, which is why I have my doubts that they would be that much of a success, and which is why I felt that they would have been discarded just the way Binotto was. Because again, look, I don't have that much sympathy for Binotto. There were definitely mistakes he made, but there were definitely things he got right as well, which he didn't get the credit for, and was then just, canned. He's basically on gardening leave at this point. And whatever said and done, maybe he wasn't the best team principal. He had a good technical mind. You could have kept him on there.
You could have utilized him a lot more than, maybe it was the pressure that kind of spoiled him. Or it could be anything, we're from looking from the outside and still it's so chaotic. Imagine what it could be like on the inside.
And that's the difference when you look at the communication and the messaging you get from the big teams. From a Mercedes and a Red Bull, it's very clear cut, it's very concise. With Ferrari, it's always muddled, and because they have such a hold of, say, the Italian media, and it's a national obsession in Italy. But you see the kind of rumor mill that comes up. You have a Lewis being linked to Ferrari out of nowhere, reach to the point where he and the team both have to come out and say, yeah, there was nothing in that link. But because it was reported in the entire media, bam, everyone believes it. But that's the power of Ferrari, but it also tends to lead to their downfall because there's so much politics going on that I think whoever is entering, there's enough politics there to make Machiavelli blush. It's that bad. It's legit that bad. So would a Horner and a Newey be successful there? I doubt. I don't think anyone would be successful over there right now.
Yeah, so that concludes it, I believe, that Ferrari is chaotic, Horner is going nowhere, and Marco says more than he should.
Marco does say a lot more than he should. That man has no control over anything, and he'll do multiple media interviews with Austrian press, with Dutch press, with German press, this, that.
He's an open book.
He's really an open book. He just has no filter, which is in a way refreshing, but it also ends up giving away too much because otherwise none of us would have known about this if Helmut Marko...
We would have thought Horner was a loyal man.
Yeah, we thought, no way, he's getting his head swept by Ferrari of all teams. Ferrari, why would you want to go to that chaos? I mean, the money would be good, sure, but even then. But so that's it. That's what I think the consensus here is, that probably wouldn't have worked out as well. But it would have still been fun to watch if it happened.
It would have been
in the
very
train
chaotic.
Crash kind of way.
Like a lawful chaotic.
Yeah, definitely. It would be crazy to watch, but good thing in a way it didn't happen. Otherwise, I think Red Bull fans would be very, very upset, and rightfully so. So that's it from us in this edition of our F1 debate. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to shower your love, like, share, subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment, follow us across social media, and also don't forget to download what?
The AajTak app.
There we go. And stay tuned. We'll be coming to you with more videos through the night. But for now, from me and Gargi, it's goodbye.